Order of operations is probably the second most important thing you'll ever need to know in algebra. It's so important that even though you haven't had algebra yet, you probably already know how to do them. But I'm going to introduce them as though you don't. So, order of operations has a little tool for remembering the order to work in, and the tool is PEMDAS, where P stands for parentheses, E stands for exponents. I'll write it as an exponent. MD stands for multiplication and division, and AS stands for addition and subtraction. Multiplication and division are done from left to right, and addition and subtraction are also done from left to right. So let's do an example of why, or let's use an example to see why it's so important that we have an order that we work in. 2 plus 3 times 4 minus 8. Okay, so 2 plus, well, let's not put the minus 8 part on. Let's just look at 2 plus 3 times 4. So one person may come along and say, well, 2 plus 3 is 5 times 4 is 20. And that would be a perfectly acceptable answer, no problem, no reason to think that that wouldn't be the right answer. But somebody else might come along and say, no, I think multiplication is more important, so I'm going to do 2 plus 3 times 4 is 12, and I get 24 when I do that. Notice that I have two different answers. So in order for algebra to work, we all have to have a method in a problem like this for us to get the same answer, no matter who works the problem, no matter where in the world they work the problem. They should all get the same answer from 2 plus 3 times 4. So mathematicians a long time ago developed the order of operations, which means the order in which we do operations in an expression. Okay, so let's do just a bunch of examples because that's the best way to see how order of operations work. So let's evaluate, which just means do the work on it, right? Let's evaluate the expression 6 plus 12 divided by 3 times 4 squared. So I have a bunch going on here. I have a plus sign, I have division, I have multiplication, and I have an exponent. So order of operations tells me that I have to do parentheses first, and I don't have anything in parentheses, so that's done. Then I have to do all my exponents, and that's this part right here. So I'm going to just do the exponent and leave everything else exactly the same on the next row. 6 plus 12 divided by 3 times the exponent 4 squared is 16. All right, so I've done the exponent in this problem. Now I have multiplication and division, but look at this. I have a problem, right? This says multiplication first, then division. It looks like that's what I'm saying because multiplication and division. Multiplication follows behind division on this problem if I go from left to right. And the rule is that I do whichever one I come to first. So in this case, the first thing I come to on multiplication and division level of order of operations is the division. So I'm going to do this part first and leave everything else exactly the same. 6 plus, well, 12 divided by 3 is 4, and then times 16. Okay, so I notice now that I haven't finished with multiplication division. I still have a multiplication, so I'm going to do just the multiplication. 6 plus, well, 4 times 16, well, 2 times 16 is 32, and twice that is 64. And now I finished with multiplication and division. All I have left is addition, subtraction, and I just have one of them, so it's pretty obvious what I'm going to do here. Except maybe I'll do it with the right numbers. 70. 64 plus 6 equals 70. Okay, let's do another example. So that's example 1. So example 2 is 24 divided by paren 4 minus 1. So we're just going to go down the checklist again. I have to do my parentheses first, and inside my parentheses is 4 take away 1, which equals 3. So my next line just says 24 divided by 3. All I have is division left, so 24 divided by 3 is 8. Okay, example 3. 48 minus, oh, this one gets complicated. 48 minus, open paren, 6 plus 5 squared, close paren. Okay, so I have to do parentheses first. It tells me parentheses first, but notice inside my parentheses, I actually have my own little set of order of operations. So when we get the instruction to do parentheses first, what it means is do order of operations inside the parentheses. So let's just look inside the parentheses and go down the checklist. Well, I have an exponent, so I'm going to complete the exponent first. So my first line, write everything else down, 48 minus, open parentheses, 6 plus 25, close parenthesis. So I've done the exponent. Now there's no multiplication, right? So after exponent is multiplication, division, and there is none. So addition, subtraction, there is. So now what I'm going to do is inside the parentheses, I'm going to do that addition, subtraction. And in fact, that's what's going to clear the parenthesis. So I get 48 minus, I'm going to I'm going to keep the parenthesis for right now. 6 plus 25 is 31. And then I decide, do I need the parenthesis? And I obviously don't. So that's 48 minus 31. Now this step I didn't really have to write down, but it's certainly okay to write it down, just to be careful when you're first learning these tools. And then now I have addition, subtraction. 48 take away 31. So let's see. 40 take away 30 is 10, and 8 take away 1 is 7, so 17. Okay, so let's do one that's really big. Example 4. It has a lot going on. Let's see, 3, and I'm going to use a bracket because inside the bracket, 32 divided by, I'm going to have a parenthesis. Okay, so a bracket, notice I have parentheses inside of the bracket. That means that I have to do this inside parenthesis first. And I only have one operation, so it'll only take one step to get rid of those parentheses. So I have 3, I still have a bracket, 32 divided by, well, 2 plus 6 is 8. That gets rid of the parenthesis, but I still have a bracket, so I have to do inside the bracket before I can deal with this 3 outside. So I have 3 times, well, 32 divided by 8 is 4. And I could have turned this to a parenthesis at this point. It's the same thing as 3 times 4. That would have been fine as well. But it was in a bracket, so I'm just going to leave it in the bracket. And now I have just multiplication. 3 times 4 equals 12.